Hey everyone, this is Chris with High Seas Cruising. So if you've been recently following along with cruising news, you know that we are waiting for test cruising to start to figure out when we can get back to cruising. If you're like me, you may have been undecided recently. Should I book a cruise? Should I wait? Should I make that final payment? We just don't know. And I have said that I actually want to wait until we have some more firm information about cruising before I booked anything. However, I was going through some of the cruise websites, and of course, I get emails and offers from different cruise lines that say, hey, come cruise with us. I've noticed that there's some really good deals out there. So I've taken the chance and I booked a cruise. I actually booked two of them. I booked a Carnival cruise and I booked a Disney cruise. Timing was right, prices were right, so I've done it. So what I want to do in today's video is actually go through the process of booking a cruise through the website. I'm going to use Carnival's website to do this because that, of course, is the first cruise I booked. I booked Carnival for this coming September. So I'm going to go through the process today of how to book a cruise, which will be particularly useful information to a first-time cruiser who wants to book on their own and not use a travel agent. So we're going to do that right after this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump right in. We're going to go to the computer. Alright, so we're going to start here on Carnival's website. Now, if you've ever sailed with Carnival before or booked with Carnival before, I always recommend you go ahead and log in. VIP members can sometimes see different prices and different options. So, like I said, if you've sailed with them before, definitely log in to see if you get anything extra, any kind of discounts or anything like that for being a return cruiser. But if, of course, this is your first time, you have a couple different options. You can start here on the Explore tab up at the top, which will give you an overview of destinations, onboard activities, dining, staterooms. You can see the different ships that Carnival has available, what's on them, and you can look at shore excursions. But since we want to book a cruise, we're going to go right over here to Plan. And then here under Plan, you have your options to find a cruise. You can use a Carnival cruise planner. You can see the departure ports, frequently asked questions, and any cruise deals, last minute cruise deals, anything like that that is going on. But we're going to come down here to find a cruise, and it'll bring up the search page here for us. So you start up here at the top, and you have a couple different options you can look at. If you know where you want to sail to, you can start there and it'll show you all of the options, everything from Alaska all the way over here to transatlantic. And if there's one that you like, you simply click on it and it'll highlight it. If you click on it again, you also have the option that you can pick what your departure port is going to be. If you have one that's close to you, you can pick that, or if you know one you want to go out of. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and select Galveston, Texas, because that is the port closest to me and one I generally like to sail from. So I will select that. And then you can come over here if you know specific date that you want to go. You simply click on that, and you can select multiple months. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and select September of 2021. Now, if I also wanted October and November, if I wanted to see it over a 3-month period, I could simply select all three. But for this one, I'm just going to pick September. Once you do that, it will show you here in the right-hand side right here, the number of cruise results available. So, leaving from Galveston in September of 2021, there are 7 cruises going out. And then you can just scroll down and see what cruises are available. And if you look, you'll see in the upper left-hand corner of each one, it'll show you the number of days. So this one here is a 5-day cruise Western Caribbean from Galveston, Texas, aboard the Carnival Breeze. Gives you the little indicator here in the middle that shows that they're going from Galveston to Costa Maya to Cozumel and back to Galveston. Down here in this red section right below it, you can select the dates. So once you click on the date, it'll bring up all of the available dates for that particular cruise. So in this one, the only date in September is going to be September 13th, Monday through Saturday. Next to that, it'll show you the room categories and the starting price for that room category. So interior is $309, ocean view, balcony, and a suite. So if that is the cruise that you are interested in, and in this case, this is the one that I booked, so we're going to keep going with that one. We're going to select pick our room. And it begins the booking process for you. So the first thing it's going to want to know is how many people are cruising. In this case, it will be 2 people, so it's Tiffany and I that are going on this cruise. So we're going to leave it at 2 and press continue. So then it's going to want a little bit of information. It says right here, tell us about yourself. So it's going to want to know your country of residence, your state of residency. So in this case, I am a Texas resident going out of Galveston. Now because I signed in here at the beginning, it is going to show rates for the VIFP club or past guest. It automatically populates my VIP number in there for me, and that is one of the benefits of signing in. Now, if you've never sailed with Carnival before, this is your first time ever booking with them, you won't have that number yet. But then we go ahead and click continue, and now it's going to come down and ask us what kind of stateroom that we want. Now, each one of these staterooms is going to have subcategories in them as well. So first, you're just picking the type that you want. And that could be a suite, a balcony, an ocean view, an interior room, and a Cloud9 Spa suite only. This particular part is going to be a preference for what you're looking for. Now, for me, I'm going to go with the interior room. I don't spend a whole lot of time in my room. It's really just for sleeping, changing clothes, taking a shower. So for this particular cruise, I'm going to go with the least expensive room and spend that money somewhere else. Alright, so once you go into the interior category, it'll show you the 2 options that you have available for interior at this point. Alright, so this one here is called an interior upper lower. And this is a baseline type room. You get a bottom bunk and a top bunk that pulls out of the ceiling. It's basically bunk beds. But that is going to be the cheapest room you could possibly get on this ship for this cruise. That one's not going to work for me, so I always go with the standard interior room. It does add an additional $4 per person per day, but I still don't want bunk beds. Now, this is where it can differ depending on your loyalty levels or whether or not you are a first-time cruiser. And if you look up here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see what it is currently estimated that this cruise is going to run. So right now, without making any additional choices, we are at $867.48. And that does include taxes, fees, and port expenses in that number already. Okay, so you can see the offers that it is giving me here. So one on the left has the premium Wi-Fi package. The one on the right here has the Cheers package, which is the drink package. You can see what the price increase would be for each one. And you also have the option to select more options. You can scroll down and it'll show you even more. So this is the Super Saver option. This is what we refer to as a guaranteed room, the Super Saver. So you pick the room type that you want and the category that you want, but the cruise line is going to pick the room for you where it is on the ship. So you're guaranteed to get a minimum of the room type that you picked, but there is always a possibility that they could upgrade you and move you up in category. You have Early Saver, which is reduced deposits, free room upgrades, $50 per room to spend on board. You have the Fun Saver, which is half off your deposit. You have the March Savings, which is where you get to choose your room location. Or the Fun Select, which is a 2-category upgrade. And you can see each one of them has a different price. So again, it's going to be what works best for you. So depending on which one you select, if you select a guaranteed room where the cruise line picks it for you, you will not go to this screen right here. But if you're picking where your cabin location is, then you will go to this screen here. So at this point you can pick, do you want the rear of the ship, the back, the middle, or forward if you want the front part of the ship. And it kind of tells you that the back is closest to casual dining, the middle is closest to the fun, and the front is closest to the arts, entertainment, the spa, and the fitness center. I've stayed in all 3 sections. It's just a personal preference. Now, if you have any kind of motion sickness or you're worried about the movement of the ship, you're going to want to stay in the middle section. The back section of the ship, depending on how low you are, if you get down on deck 1 or deck 2, you could have some additional noise from the engines and some additional vibration down in that area. And the front of the ship can have some extra movement in it as well. Something to consider if you get motion sickness. I said I've stayed in all 3, never had a problem in any of the 3. I don't get motion sickness, I don't get seasickness. But for this one, we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and pick the middle. And we'll press continue. And then it's going to give you your deck options. So which deck would you like to stay on? Now, different decks can increase the cost a little bit. So if you want to stay all the way up on deck 9, it is additional $4 per person per day. Versus if you come all the way down to deck 1 and deck 2 is included in the price. And it'll show you that deck 12, deck 11, and deck 10, those ones are already all sold out. I'm going to go ahead and pick deck 2. Now I have reasons that are personal preferences of why I'll stay down on the lower decks. So one, I don't mind staying down there. They're just the same as an interior room on a top deck. But one of the advantages I found on here is, one, it's usually pretty quiet down here. Not a lot of motion of the ship. You're just going to get a nice little gentle rocking. The second thing is elevators on a cruise ship can get pretty crowded. But if you stay down on deck 1 or deck 2 and you catch the elevator to go up, it's easy to get one. And unless somebody else is staying on the deck with you trying to get on the elevator at the same time, you're not going to have a bunch of crowd trying to get on the elevator to go up. So getting on is easy. You're not going to have to worry about the elevator coming to your floor, opening up and being full and having to wait for another one or anything like that. So you can always get on and go up. Well, going up on a cruise ship, especially if you're going up to the very top, deck 9, deck 10, you're going to want to ride up, especially from deck 1. But if you're on an upper deck and need to go back down, it's easy to take the stairs at that point because it's all downhill. That's kind of my theory on that. It just makes, for me, getting up and down the decks a lot easier. So I don't mind the lower decks. So now you're going to come to this screen, and this is where you can pick your room. And it'll show you green are rooms that are available, and the purple is the room that it currently has selected for you. Now, selecting your room does matter. So right along in this area right here, you can see at the top of the deck plans, and down here about halfway down, these are your elevators. I don't recommend a room by the elevators if you can get away with it. So the current one they have selected, 2266, is right here. Chances are that room is going to be a little bit noisy. You're going to want to try to stay away from the noisy areas. So if it was me, I would go down into this area right here, 2296, 2300, and 2304. It's halfway between the two, so you can come out same distance to either go to the elevators at the top or the elevators back here. So in this case, we'll go with 2306. We're going to, or 2304, I'm sorry, we're going to select that room, and then we're going to come down and go to continue. So at this point, it's going to bring up your cruise summary. And you can go through that real quick. It's going to give you your itinerary, 5 days, Western Caribbean from Galveston. You give you your dates. You can actually pull up your itinerary right here and show you day 1 in Galveston, sea day, Costa Maya, Cozumel, day 5 is a sea day, and then back to Galveston. It'll come down and show you your ship, and it's going to show you your stateroom information. So we're in the middle section, deck 2, room 2304 with 2 guests. We'll come back up here to the top right. It has a lot of that same information here. So it's going to let you know that here's your prices. For the first guest, it's $329. Guest number 2 is $329. Taxes, fees, and port expenses is $159.48. It gives you a current deposit of $100, your total of $817.48, and the remaining amount that you're going to have due by June 30th of 2021, which is $717.48. You do have the option to prepay your gratuities, and the gratuities would be $139.90. Again, this is going to be a personal choice. Me, I always like to prepay the gratuities. It's done, it's out of the way, and I don't have anything to worry about at that point. They're not going to put it on my sign and sale card once I'm on the ship, and it gives me more time to get it paid off. And your second option is going to be to add your cruise insurance or your vacation protection. I highly recommend you get some travel insurance. Whether you get it through the cruise line or you get it through a third party, that's your choice, but you're going to want to get travel insurance. So we're going to go and add that as well. Yes, I want it on both guests. And then you can see where it made the changes. And now my total is $1,055. My deposit is up. And the reason your deposit went up is because you're going to pay the full $98 for the travel insurance up front. So it didn't take the deposit up to $198, and it did bring my final payment to $857.38. Okay, once you're happy with all that, you've made all your choices, you're going to select continue. So at this point, it would come down and have me create an account or log in, but we're going to go ahead and stop that right there because the next screen is payment information. So that is the process of going through a cruise line's website and booking yourself a cruise. All of them are very similar. You might have a few different options here and there, but they're all basically the same as that process goes. You will have different ships, different room types, and different options. But like I said, the basic principle of how to book a cruise is exactly the same. In my next video, I'm going to go through your options that you have once you've booked and paid for that deposit. So once you pay for it, you then get access into the cruise manager, and you'll have more options to choose from in there, additional things you can add to your cruise, and we're going to go over all that in the next video. I really do feel that every day we are one step closer to a return to cruising, and they are estimating that in 2022 there could be 31 million cruise passengers. I also saw where they were talking about the possibility of cruise pricing going up. Supply and demand. The more people that want a cruise, the more they can charge for a cruise. While cruise prices are low right now, you may want to consider booking one just to save some money in the future. Well, I hope you have enjoyed today's video on the process of booking a cruise through a cruise website. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you out on the high seas eventually.